Hey guys, super hot news to start this new year, and a lot of new stuff about the world of Dragon Ball. I'm already starting with a big hit. After Goku awakens with the death of Krillin back there against Frieza, and Gohan awakens the beast form against Cell Max because of Piccolo, the time has come for the awakening of one of the strongest warriors of all. You know who I'm talking about, right? Pause here. 1, 2, and done. Whoever said Vegeta got it right. So get ready, grab your bucket of popcorn, subscribe to the channel, leave your like, and activate the little bell. There are moments in the Dragon Ball universe when silence weighs more than any energy explosion. Instants when the air seems frozen, the light loses strength, and something invisible begins to spread, as if reality itself were being contaminated by a presence that should not exist. It is not just an enemy appearing, nor a new level of power being reached. It is the feeling that the world has entered a distorted version of itself, a dark reflection where repressed emotions, old fears, and unresolved pain finally emerge. Just like in the upside-down world, everything looks the same on the surface, but it is wrong. Cold, suffocating, as if the universe were waiting for someone to break the cycle. Goku crossed this threshold once before, when Krillin's death turned a smiling hero into a symbol of righteous fury, and the sky of Namek seemed to darken along with his heart. Gohan also felt this call, when Piccolo's apparent sacrifice made his world collapse, and something monstrously powerful awakened within him, not as pure hatred, but as the manifestation of everything he had tried to ignore for years. In both cases, the world did not end, but it changed, as if for a few moments, reality had been pulled into a darker place where feelings could no longer be contained. But there is someone who never crossed this portal completely. Vegeta has always walked along the edge of this upside-down world, sensing its presence, hearing its whispers, but refusing to enter. He learned to survive by hardening his heart, stacking losses without ever allowing them to truly break him. But every upside-down world charges its price. The more one avoids facing what was repressed, the denser this darkness becomes. And perhaps the moment is coming when the universe will no longer ask for evolution through training or pride, but will demand that Vegeta face what he has always kept locked away. When this portal opens, it will not be just a new transformation, it will be the day the Prince of the Saiyans finally faces the most terrifying reflection of all, the version of himself that still fears losing everything once again. Throughout Dragon Ball, the greatest leaps in power have never come solely from physical training or refined techniques, but from moments when something broke emotionally inside a character. The first major example of this, and perhaps the most emblematic of the entire franchise, happens on Namek when Krillin dies in front of Goku. Up until that moment, Goku had spent the entire saga fighting with focus, strategy, and hope, believing there was still a way to defeat Frieza without crossing certain limits. Krillin's death was not just the loss of a childhood friend, but the destruction of an emotional pillar that had supported Goku since classic Dragon Ball. Krillin represented Goku's humanity, his connection to Earth, to the simple past before gods, planets, and genocides. When Frieza kills him coldly, laughing, something Goku had never experienced before takes over his body. It was not just anger, it was absolute indignation, a feeling of cosmic injustice. This moment is crucial because the Super Saiyan doesn't emerge as a technique or as a conscious goal. It emerges as an instinctive response of Goku's body and soul. His heart races, his energy explodes, and the environment itself reacts. The transformation is not only visual, it completely alters his posture, his voice, his presence. Goku stops being the warrior who seeks to fight to surpass himself and becomes a judge, someone who imposes a moral limit on the enemy. The fury that consumes him is not loss of control, but clarity. He understands in that instant that certain enemies cannot be spared, and this understanding redefines his relationship with combat. The Super Saiyan is born as an extreme emotional response, something that no isolated training could have provoked. Years later, Dragon Ball repeats this logic with Gohan, but in an even more deeper and symbolic way. During the Cell Saga, Gohan is presented as someone who possesses absurd potential, but who rejects violence. Unlike Goku and Vegeta, fighting was never a genuine desire for him. Gohan fights out of obligation, out of necessity, out of protection. When he reaches Super Saiyan 2 after the death of Android 16, it is not just an increase in power, but a definitive rupture between the peaceful boy and the warrior who accepts his role. Android 16's speech about protecting life, even as a machine, serves as a catalyst for Gohan to understand that his strength exists for a greater purpose. There, he accepts who he is, and that transforms him. Decades later, in Dragon Ball Super Hero, this logic is revisited with even greater maturity in the awakening of Gohan Beast. The context is different, but the emotional trigger follows the same principle. When Piccolo apparently dies while facing Cell Max, Gohan relives a deep trauma. Piccolo is not just a master or ally, he is a silent father figure, someone who shaped Gohan when Goku was absent. The scene doesn't show just anger, but absolute despair. Gohan feels that he failed again, that he grew complacent, that he trusted peace too much. Beast is not born from hatred, but from guilt and a belated instinct to protect. It is as if all the potential suppressed over the years finally exploded without filters.
The visual of the beast form reinforces this. The cold eyes, the excessively raised hair,
The almost aggressive aura indicate a Gohan who is not just stronger, but emotionally different. He does not hesitate, does not joke, does not provoke, he executes. Just as Goku's Super Saiyan was a response to injustice and Super Saiyan 2 was a response to accepting duty, Beast is the response to negligence. Gohan realizes that he can no longer rely solely on others, and this awareness takes him to a level that mixes instinct, intellect, and controlled fury. These moments make it clear that there is a very specific narrative pattern in Dragon Ball. The great transformations arise when the character is placed in front of a loss that threatens their identity. Krillin dead destroys Goku's innocence. Android 16 destroyed forces Gohan to accept who he is. Piccolo fallen awakens in Gohan the fear of losing what keeps him human. In all cases, it is not just someone getting beaten or being defeated, but someone who represents an emotional pillar being torn away. And that is exactly why, when one looks at Vegeta, something always seems to be missing. He evolves, he trains, he surpasses himself, but rarely goes through a definitive emotional break in the same way as Goku and Gohan. His trajectory is different, more silent, more internal, and perhaps that is why his true awakening is still yet to happen. Vegeta has always been a character shaped by loss, but in a very different way from Goku and Gohan. While Goku reacts to loss with emotional explosion and Gohan with internal rupture, Vegeta reacts with restraint. Since the destruction of planet Vegeta, he learned to swallow pain, turning everything into pride and an obsession with power. He does not cry, does not scream, does not explode immediately. He carries it, and that is precisely what makes his definitive awakening still seem incomplete. Vegeta has gone through countless moments of humiliation, defeat, and frustration, but almost always linked to his own ego, to comparison with Goku, to the inability to reach first place. These moments made him evolve, but never completely broke his emotional defenses. The closest classic example of this happens when Beerus hits Bulma. There, Vegeta reacts in an almost instinctive way, attacking a god of destruction without thinking about his own life. This moment is important because it reveals something rare. Vegeta does not fight for pride, nor for rivalry, but for love. Even so, that emotional explosion is brief. It generates a momentary increase in power, but not a definitive transformation. Why? Because deep down, Bulma was not in real danger of dying. The shock was emotional, not existential. Vegeta reacted, but he was not forced to face an irreversible loss. For Vegeta to experience an awakening equivalent to Goku's Super Saiyan or Gohan's Beast, something much deeper needs to happen. It is not enough for someone to get beaten. It is not enough to have a distant threat. Vegeta would need to be confronted with the real possibility of losing what he has silently built over the years. His family is not just a detail in his life, it is concrete proof that he stopped being the lonely prince and became someone with roots. Bulma, Trunks, and even Bra represent everything he never had in his childhood. Losing that would mean losing himself. An extremely powerful narrative possibility would be to put Goku on the brink of definitive death, not as a rival, but as a pillar. Vegeta spent years comparing himself to Goku, but he also came to see him as a moral and strength reference. Goku is the mirror that kept him moving. If Vegeta were to see Goku fall irreversibly, not defeated but destroyed before his eyes, that would break something deep. It would not be envy nor anger, it would be emptiness. The absence of the one who was always ahead would leave Vegeta without direction, and in that emptiness something new could arise. This awakening would not need to be a classic explosion of fury. It could be something denser, heavier, more silent. Vegeta would not scream, he would remain still. His ki would become oppressive, crushing, as if space itself around him recognized his final decision. Unlike Ultra Ego, which is born from the pleasure of destruction and the acceptance of damage, this new state could arise from the absolute refusal to lose anyone else. It would not be a power fueled by pain, but by unshakable determination. A possible death of Goku would leave Vegeta without a rival, without a reference, and without excuses. And it is precisely this combination that could finally break his last emotional shackles and lead him to the deepest awakening of his entire journey. Vegeta would react in 3 emotional layers, and it is precisely this progression that could lead to the definitive awakening. At the first moment, Vegeta would not scream, would not attack anyone, would not lose control. The impact would be of absolute denial. Goku had always been there, always came back, always overcame. For Vegeta, Goku is not just a rival, he is a constant of the universe. The idea of a world where Goku no longer gets up simply does not make sense to him. Vegeta would stand still, in silence, while the others would react with shock or desperation. This silence would not be coldness, but a contained internal collapse. It is as if the world had entered that distorted, suffocating state, where everything continues to exist but without life. The second stage would be the cruelest: emptiness.
Vegeta realizes that he doesn't feel immediate anger, and that frightens him. The rivalry with Goku was always the engine of his evolution, but also his emotional anchor. Goku was the constant reminder that there was always a next step, someone ahead pulling the limit farther. Without Goku, Vegeta loses not only a powerful ally, but the mirror that defined who he was. At this point, Vegeta does not ask, "How will I win?" but "Why continue?" This kind of emptiness is far more destructive than fury, because it corrodes purpose. It is at this moment that guilt begins to seep in. Vegeta would remember every time Goku trusted him, every battle fought side by side, every occasion when Goku believed Vegeta would be there to finish what he started. Goku's death would feel not as a collective failure, but as a personal debt. Vegeta always prided himself on being the one who does not fail, and realizing that he was not strong enough to be ahead at that moment would hit him hard. The third stage is where something new is born. It is not blind fury, nor desperation, it is decision. Vegeta understands with painful clarity that the time of chasing is over. There is no longer someone ahead to surpass. If the world continues to exist, it will be because someone decided to sustain it, and that someone now can only be him. In that instant, Vegeta does not awaken out of hatred for the enemy who killed Goku, but out of absolute rejection of the idea of losing anyone else. His ki does not explode, it condenses. The air becomes heavy, the ground does not shake, it sinks. This change would be different from anything Vegeta has ever experienced. It would not have the aggressive shine of Super Saiyan, nor the proud brutality of Ultra Ego. It would be a silent, oppressive, almost funeral state, as if the universe itself recognized that one pillar fell and another was forced to take its place. Vegeta would not fight to prove anything. He would fight to keep the world standing, because now he knows exactly what happens when that world loses its main support.